me a wave, I'm really nervous. Is anybody there? I've got John on the camera today. I've never actually done Facebook Live, and I'm really grateful for all of you that have joined us this evening. I get asked loads of questions on how to use Nifty Nozzles. These are the Russian flower tips, made in Russia, and these are the genuine nozzles designed by the original designer, Alexander. And I'm going to show you how to make a tulip, let me get my words out, a cupcake bouquet. So, has anybody arrived with us this evening, John? Give me a wave.
Hi everyone, John here. Yes, we've got lots of people here. We're up to 23 so far, okay. 25.
Right, brilliant.
And everybody's saying hello.
Oh, fantastic, good. Right, okay, so the first thing you do need is some cupcakes, and you need to mix your buttercream. So everybody always asks me, what is the consistency of the buttercream? Just let me stop 1 second. As you know, I've been playing with these nozzles for over 18 months now, and I'm probably ashamed of my first few sessions, but they are getting better. And this is what I made last week. We went to Spring Fair, John and I, last week, and this is my little mini wedding cake here. Took me about 20 minutes, half an hour. Valentine's cake, 8 minutes, and that's basically, I've got this lovely red colour because when I made these, I put all the leftover buttercream into one bowl, got a brick colour, added more red, and came out with this red colour here. I've done these half dome cakes, pink one and a blue one. I have put all these on the website so that if you wanted to buy the nozzles for each bundle, then they're all listed on there. These make great baby shower cakes. If you know what you're having, a boy or a girl, or you could do pinks and blues if you don't know what you're having. And they also make great birthday cakes if you just want to do them in a variety of different colours. Very simple, and these half dome cakes take about 10 minutes to decorate. If you like the session tonight and everything goes really well and I don't stutter too much, then next week I propose that we do one of these half dome cakes. So hopefully you'll all be with me on that, okay? I have got the sniffles. I've had the most dreadful viral flu since the 6th of December. I can't seem to shift it. So if you hear me sniffling and my squeaky voice, then you know what's wrong with me. So first of all, buttercream. I only use buttercream. You can use the nozzles using Swiss meringue, Italian meringue, creme de beurre. I don't use any of those, they're not my thing. So I use buttercream. I don't use margarine. And if you're vegetarian, then you can use your Trex or your Crisco. If Crisco's vegetarian, I'm not really sure, I think it is. Or whatever buttercream you like. I do watch on Facebook all the different how people like their buttercream. It has to be really stiff, it has to be really soft. And what I'm going to say to you is it needs to be a medium consistency. Now, let's bear in mind a couple of things. We're in England and it's freezing cold. So medium consistency here means that my buttercream, that butter's been out of the fridge all day, in this room, the temperature's on high, I'm sweating, and yet my butter is still rock hard. So I'm going to have to put that in the microwave for 20 to 30 seconds before it goes in the mixer. My daughter lives in Australia. She'll spend all the time putting her butter in the fridge, trying to keep it to go hard. So you have to think about where you are in the world. I have made up some butter already, so let's just go back to that. This has been in the microwave, 30 seconds. I have pre-mixed just the butter. So this is just butter. There's no icing sugar in here yet. And as you can see, it's changed colour from yellow to a nearly white colour. Yeah, and it's still quite stiff. Now there's a couple of things that you can do, and I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. I am going to add, when I make buttercream as well, let me just tell you, for Nifty Nozzles you need a lot of butter. So I use 500 grams of butter, and I use unsalted butter, and I use 1 kilo of course, sugar and crumbs flavoured icing sugar. And tonight we are using lime. So it smells delicious in here. You can use normal plain icing sugar and add your own flavouring if you wish. So what I'm going to do is, before we get a little cloud burst, I'm going to just chop it all in. just to help, you can either put boiling water in. I would start off with a tablespoon of boiling water, and keep adding until you feel right. But I like to put condensed milk in. But then again, when it's summertime, because the root, I had problems with my students in the summer, and that was trying to keep it nice and cool, so we actually didn't put any water or condensed milk in because the butter was just soft enough as it was. So I'm going to put 2 of these large dessert spoons of condensed milk in. And if you can't have the milk side of it, then you're going to have to use water. I'm going to chop it all in. And I'm going to stick it on my mixer. And I'm going to beat the living daylights out of it. So you're going to hear a right racket in a moment. Just 1 second. If you want to ask any questions, I actually can't see the camera. I've got John filming today. I don't know whether any of you have met John at the shows. But John's holding the camera for me, and the reason is, if I try to set myself up to video myself, then I can't see. So my glasses would be on, they would be off. So any questions, feel free to ask John. Always put a tea towel over the mixer. What did you say?
200 watching.
Always put a tea towel over the mixer, because otherwise you're going to have a lovely cloud burst in the kitchen. So we'll just get this going first. Turn it up. And then I am going to, once we've got rid of the cloud burst, I am just going to leave this to mix for a while. That's how we do it. So, let me just leave that on there a minute and move over. I'll let John give you a little tour of my kitchen here. You'll see that I've already set up some bags of nozzles, and you're probably wondering why I put them in a bowl with a damp cloth. And this is so the nozzle doesn't dry out. Okay, so the last thing you want is it drying out. 1 second. How are we doing there? Okay, John, do you just have a quick look in there a moment? John?
Oh. Sorry, I'm trying to read some of the comments.
So I'm just going to leave this to beat away and let it get nice and fluffy. I'll turn it off for a moment. Right, so the next thing, ladies, is your Nifty Nozzle. Now this one is the super size nozzle that we've just brought out. Our normal size, so this is what we call large, and this is what we call extra large. They're both the same height, but they're wider. And the one I've got here to use is Blossom. All you're doing, John is giggling away there. I'm not quite sure what he's giggling away at. Go on, John, what are you laughing at?
Ryan's joined the conversation.
Oh, is that my son, Ryan? So, as you see, I put the nozzle in, and I'm so busy eating roast. I pop the nozzle in, and you'll see that the nozzle hasn't quite popped through. So I'm just going to squeeze it back a little bit more. And just cut off a little bit more. And they are. Can you see when you squeeze the bag that the bag is just on the tip of the nozzle? Now, you'll also see that I don't use big bags. And the reason for that is I'm not a professional cake decorator. I'm not very good at hauling big bags of buttercream over my shoulder or over my hand. So I just like to have a nice handful. I think that's more than enough. We're actually going to two-tone this one, okay? And this is Blossom, by the way. So I'm going to two-tone this, and how I two-tone is I pop the bag over my hand. If you can't do that, then get yourself a jug. What are you looking at, John? I'm over here.
Someone wants to see what mixers we're using.
Oh, right. Never mind the mixers, get over here. So, two-toning. So I've got my bag in this little container. Use any container, pint pot. And I'm going to put a little thin coat of buttercream all the way round. And this is why I don't like using a tub. I prefer to use my hands so I can hold the nozzle. So we do it like that, that's better. So I am putting in a little thin coat there. You'll see. I'm going to do yellow. Don't know if you can see that. You see that there, Tom?
Yep.
Yeah. And then I'm going to put a nice big blob of pink in the middle. There you go. I can feel that I've got a really sweaty face and chin. That's what happens when I'm all nervous. So do excuse me. Pardon?
I'm keeping that off the video.
I think John hasn't got my face in case you just see how sweaty my chin is. So there we go. Right, ladies, so what I prepared earlier is I'm going to do this little bouquet. So I have prepared the Starburst Nozzle. Yeah, so that's going to be one of the flowers we're going to use today. You can use any of the nozzles. You just choose your favourite flower. I'm going to use the 10 petal rose. I was going to use Beauty tonight. It's just got a lot more petals on it, which is really very pretty. But I went to the show this weekend and completely forgot that I'd left in all the show stuff at work. I've got the 10 petal. I've got the a round nozzle, which is size 10. A round nozzle, piping tip, whatever you want to call it, size 5. I've also got the 104. Now I have cut this bag too short, I can see I have. Okay, so I'm actually going to have to cut it again because it's going to pop out, this one. And I've also got the 224. Now I'm using 2 Nifty Nozzles and I'm using 4 Wilton tips, and you'll see why shortly. Okay, and I just need to do a leaf nozzle to finish it all off. And how I like to do my leaves are, I like to put the green in. Like everything all to look nice. So you'll see that I've gone round on the outside again with the green, and I'm just going to put a little bit of pink in the middle, and you'll see why shortly. So let's squeeze that out. Has anybody got any questions they want to ask me so far? Because it's all about preparation when you're using the nozzles. And I'm just going to go quickly below my nose, if you don't mind.
Someone's asked the question, said they used the grass nozzle, but it didn't stick where they wanted.
I don't know what to say.
Well, that's when you put the coat on first, isn't it?
Yeah, I'll show you. Right then, John, if you just want to pop over here. Right, at the shows, I always show ladies this little demo. And the reason I show you on a spatula, I can see it at eye height myself, and it also enables you to understand what I'm going to talk about. And I'm sure when I do this in a minute, some of you are going to realise where you've gone wrong. So, squeeze your nozzle. So we've got your nozzle. We're going here. And what people do is they start to squeeze here. So can you see what's happening? So they haven't touched the cake, and we've now got loose petals. So I'll just show that again to you. We start squeezing without touching it on the cake, and it won't stick. Yeah? The next thing that they do is they squeeze onto there and they form this. Does anybody recognise these? Yeah? Anybody prepared to put their hand up and admit they do one of those? John? No? Nobody's admitting to anything? Or they squeeze and they keep squeezing, 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 and they go, it won't stop, and we end up with these ginormous things. Does anybody recognise any of those? So let me tell you what you do need to do. So imagine that this spatula is your cake.
Got one person own up to it.
Oh, well done.
Two,
good, well done. So imagine that this spatula is your cake, and I'll try and stop shaking. Okay, you put a thin coat of buttercream on, you pop your nozzle onto the cake, relax your finger, yeah, squeeze, form a base, come up 1 centimetre, relax, pull off, and you've got your flower. So let's try that with the Starburst as well. So squeeze, form 1 centimetre, relax, off. Squeeze, 1 centimetre, relax, off. Straight onto the cake, relax, off. And I wouldn't really go any higher than 1 centimetre. Some people want to go like that, that's fine, but personally I like to keep them about 1 centimetre high. Are we all happy with that? Super. So, who do I know out there? Who knows me? Who's been to the cake shows and seen me there going on with my little self? Anybody I know? Come on, John, tell me.
Ryan Stafford wants to learn to bake.
Right, okay. Anybody wants to know Ryan Stafford? That's my son there, taking the mickey. Right, okay then. So, John, cupcake, please. So the first thing that you do need to do is crumb coat your cupcake, okay? I made the silly mistake once, and I'll never do it again. 100 cupcakes, and I crumb coated them all. Don't do that, because as fast as you've done them, they go rock hard, and I've actually defeated the object of what I wanted to do. So crumb coat your cupcake, and what we're going to do here is we're going to put the nozzle onto the cake. Can you see that clear enough there, John? So we're going to put the nozzle onto the cake. We're going to squeeze, form a base, relax, and pull off. Can you see that? And then we're actually going to widen it and make it into an open rose. So I'm going to use the 104 Wilton tip, yeah? And this is what I'm going to do. Now, I'm not perfect, so don't worry if you're a bit scruffy. All I'm going to do is do a nice little arch. Can you see that? It's a little bit strange for me having to come round like this, because I'm actually doing it to you, the camera, and not to me, which is a bit weird. So I'm hoping it's looking okay. What do you think so far? So all I've done is little half semicircles, and then to just widen it, I'm going to go in and lie it down and lift it up. Lie it down and lift it up. Lie it down, lift it up, go underneath, lie it down and lift it up. I like doing these because they don't have to be perfect until you've got all the way around. Can you see that lovely rose? Come on, John. What would you like me to do?
Just needs a second to focus.
Oh, right, okay. No worries. And then to carry on the bouquet, I'm actually going to just pop in on the side the Starburst. Yeah. Then I'm going to pop in the blossom. So, can you see? Exactly the same, because it's a bigger tip. Straight onto the base, up and off. Yeah. And I'm going to pop in another little rose here. Can you see that? Now, do you remember I said we're going to use the Wilton 224, and that's just to fill in some little flowers there. So it's just a little drop, flower drop, and stick a little bit there, and a little bit there. And then I'm going to use the round 10, and I'm just going to do a nice little ball. bit too much buttercream in here, so sorry if I've got a shaky hand. Just a little bit too much buttercream. Here we go. And these are my little so-called berries, just to finish the cake off, can you see? And stick one over there. And then I'm going to use the number 5 Wilton, just put it in top of that, just for my little berry. If you want to ask me any questions, feel free. I'm sure John might read them out to me.
Yeah, can you share us your buttercream recipe, please?
I certainly will.
We can post that afterwards.
I can post it to you.
Yeah.
All I use is 500 grams of unsalted butter, 1 kilo of flavoured icing sugar. If you're not using flavoured icing sugar, just use normal sugar and add your own flavour in. The butter needs to be at room temperature, and I also add a dessert spoon to 2 dessert spoons of condensed milk. If you don't want to do that, then add water or normal milk. So all I'm going to do now is add in a couple of leaves. I'm going to fill in a nice big one here. And the leaf nozzle is brilliant. I always say this at the shows, I've got far too much to say. Can you see how it's got a little mouth? So don't turn it sideways, you'll get a funny looking leaf. But if you turn it up that way and go straight in, John, can you see? And you just go straight in and pull up yourself a nice little leaf. And there we go. We've got our first cupcake bouquet. What do you think of that? So I'm going to do another one, just in case that was a little bit too fast for you. And I've got John doing hand signals, which I'm not quite sure what for.
Put it down.
Put it down. And I'm going to do the whole thing again. So here we go.
Someone's asked about what colours we're using.
Okay. The colours that I'm actually using today is the Colour Splash range. People say, is that my favourite? I've got to be honest, I have no preference. I've used Wilton, Sugar Flare, Pro Gel, Colour Splash. I just seem to stick with the Colour Splash because we stock it and we sell it. I just think just use your own personal favourites. Doesn't really matter. I like the Colour Splash because they don't get as messy. So let's do this cake again, just for those of you who missed. So we're going to go round the cupcake again. Okay, you don't need to put on your crumb cake nice and neat, just all scruffy like this. And this is the piping tip. So let me just get some kitchen roll. If you can, have a damp cloth in the kitchen and just keep your piping tips nice and clean. So here we go, this is what we're going to do. We are going to, whoops, so you do get that. How many of you have had that happen? Don't worry, don't panic, you've not ruined your cake. Just take it off, squeeze onto the cake, stop squeezing, pull off. There he is, okay? All I did was I pulled off far too soon. So I'm going to clean my 104 petal tip again. And here we go. So I'm going to do a half semicircle. Can you see that? I'm going to go around again and you lift it up. Yep. Just tuck it in. Keep going around. Around again. Around again. Doesn't matter which way you go, left-handed, right-handed, whichever way suits you. To open the flower, we're just going to lie it down on its side and we're going to bring it from the bottom up. Going to go underneath, bottom up. Don't know if John can see that. Going to go from the bottom up, and bottom up again. And then on the last one, I'm going to bring it from the bottom up and I'm just going to tuck it in under the last one. Yeah? Then I'm actually going to put my rose there, another rose. Pop in my blossom, this is the extra large nozzles, onto there, off. We're going to put the Starburst in again, squeeze, off. And then we're going to use the 10-inch, the round 10. I'm going to put some little balls in there. These are our little berries. I don't like doing them in threes, just fill them in. Put a couple up there. And I've got the number 5 here. Wait a minute. Here's the number 5. Just squeeze into them. There you go. And then I'm going to get my leaf tip, and do you remember what I said? Mouth open, and we're going to squeeze it. Can John see in the camera? We're just going to put it there, and we're going to squeeze, 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 till we get a nice big leaf. We're going to go right behind it. Keep squeezing, and then you'll see a nice effect. I'll just squeeze a bit more down in my bag. And then we go in there, just a nice little leaf, and then here. And there we go, ladies, our second cupcake. So, there we go. Yeah, and if I put those there for you. And does anybody want to ask me any questions?
Why is my buttercream gritty?
Ah, that's a good question.
How long do you beat it for?
Well, I give mine a good 10-minute beat in the mixer, okay? So when the butter is yellow, goes in the mixer, I beat it until it's nearly white. If your icing sugar is gritty, all I can say is it probably needs sieving. That's the only thing I can say. It's probably just a little bit too lumpy. Now, would anybody like me to see me do these cakes again?
Do we do classes?
Do I do classes? I do. I've actually got some classes available in March and April. They're £99, they're all day. On those classes, you do go home with a half dome cake and 24 decorated cupcakes. I do show you how to two-tone, triple tone as well. So let's just do another one of these. You ready to go again, ladies? Let's do this one a little bit different. John, are you back with me? I think John's gone into a daze there. So you don't always have to do it with the 104. That's just if you want to get a little bit fancy. If you just want to use your nozzles, and what we're going to use now is we're just going to use the Blossom. So here's the new extra large Blossom nozzle.
Where are the classes?
I'm based in Stockport. I do them there. I'm actually going to the Netherlands, so if anybody is at Cake Supplies, I've got a class there on the 3rd and 4th of April. And if you know a local school who's happy to hire me, I'm more than happy to come down and do them. So this is the Blossom. So I'm just going to squeeze, form a base, up and off. Squeeze, form a base, up and off. Squeeze, form a base, up and off. Even with these giant nozzles, you can still get 6 flowers around the cake. So, and then I am going to use my 224 petal. Go on, John, what would you like to ask me? John, you have to ask me the question. Oh, we're up to 30 minutes, right, ladies? I think my 30 minutes is up, so if I disappear on you, I'm really sorry, I'll try and be as quick as I can, but I am going to be online for the next half an hour to hour, so if you want to ask me any questions, feel free, I'm here to answer them. But here we go.
We'll go back through all the old
Yeah, and I'll go through all your comments. Let's just see, crikey, I didn't realise it was so fast. There's me thinking we're not going to get enough done. There you go. And that's using the blossom tip. So thank you very much, ladies, for joining me. I hope you've enjoyed it. Anything you need to know, just ask me, I'm here. And if you enjoyed tonight's little session, please let me know that you did, and next week I will come back next Monday, same time, and show you how to do the half dome cake. If you want to buy the set and get ready, so you can do it with me, that's entirely up to you. We do, like I say, I do sell the sets of nozzles on our website, which is www.sugarandcrumbs.co.uk. Go to shop brand Nifty Nozzles. Thanks for joining me.